listening to Stones Radio Networks, the home of the Lincoln Potters. Stay tuned for more of the POS Show on Stones Radio Networks. You are listening to Stones Radio Networks, the home of the Lincoln Potters. Stay tuned for Dodger Dogs. They suck. You are listening to Stones Radio Networks, the home of the Lincoln Potters. Stay tuned for more of the POS Show on Stones Radio Networks. to Stones Radio Networks, the home of the Lincoln Potters. Coming up on Stones Radio Networks, the POS Show, Phantom on Sports. Coming up on Stones Radio Networks, the POS Show, Phantom on Sports. You are listening to Stones Radio Networks, the home of the Lincoln Potters. You are listening to Stones Radio Networks, the home of the Lincoln Potters.
Every night I go to party. Broadcasting live from the Stone Studio and Dog Kennel. It's time for another edition of the POS Show. That's right, you found the POS Show, Phantom on Sports. I'm Stones McCoy, executive producer and button pusher. And now, for the man who's been around since, well, before anything was ever invented, the legendary Phantom.
You know something? That intro still holds up.
Oh, it does?
That's the intro that we put out years and years ago, and it still holds up. Even now, as we return to the Stones Radio studios here, Stones Radio Network studios.
And Dog Kennel.
In Dog Kennel, and we saw the dogs outside. In fact, we almost had one of the dogs inside, but then you said, no, you don't want to listen to this, and you made her leave.
I made her leave.
Which I thought was a good idea.
Well,
I am Phantom. That is Stones McCoy.
What's up?
I've been around a little bit on the network. You were around yesterday, but before that, you haven't been around for a long time. So welcome back.
Well, thank you.
Welcome back to your own network.
Thank you.
You are the
shit.
Yeah, you're the head honcho.
These guys really suck.
You know, you've got my son who's on the Unscripted show, which is Wednesdays at 7-ish because they're young. You've got him addicted to soundboards.
Oh, I know.
So,
I know.
and
They stole the iPad from you, the whole bit, huh?
The range of things a 22-year-old can be addicted to, I guess that's not bad.
No, that's not bad, man.
But and the thing is he can't do it with very much dexterity yet because, and we have the old iPad now at the Phantom Studios.
The OG, if
so
you will.
he really is relegated to one screen, and it happens to the one he likes is the Judge Judy screen.
Oh, okay.
But he's just like you, especially in your early days. He just finds a drop he likes, and he just waits for me to stop talking and just hits it.
Yeah.
He doesn't care what it says.
WTF.
See, like that, and then he just and he stands up and he goes,
Yeah,
look
that's
around,
good.
Because I
hit a home run.
I just hit the sounder on the soundboard, and I am a funny dude.
I am
So
good.
anyway, welcome back, dude.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. I'm pouring you a beer right as we speak.
That is not
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, it's I apologize for the tremendous delay that we had in getting back on the air, but I think if you look around at the digs, I think it was well worth the wait.
You put a tweet out about an hour ago and said there's an hour to go, which I thought was very good chronologically.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And I was about to make some rude remark about it because the angle that you had was just that area that you're sitting in right now, and it definitely looked like some janitor's closet that you'd redecorated and put up a couple of bobbleheads. And I'm like, oh, boy, the new studio looks great. But as I found out through many tries, sarcasm does not travel on Twitter very well. So many times.
What do you mean?
Many times I drop what I call a bon mot on somebody, which is a good word.
Yeah,
and I sit back and I wait for the laughter and hilarity to roll in, and it just never seems to make it.
So you
like
get
that
hit
wave
with
that doesn't a wave that doesn't quite get to the shore. So anyway, but this is a very nice room.
I appreciate that.
And there will be time when we can have guests in here,
yes,
hopefully, and.
I mean, we're planning on lots of stuff.
We have accommodations. Yeah, we'll discuss that as we go on. We have accommodations that we can get people in here, and I think they'll be very, very impressed. And it's not as drafty as your garage either.
Oh, thank you.
I noticed that, too, right away.
Yes.
And you've got many hats, mostly Giants and Potters.
Well,
in fact, kind of all Giants and Potters, right?
I have
Potters
a 49ers.
hats do you have?
I have. Well, if you want to count them, there's 4.
There's 3, there's
and
6,
then there's 7 across the top, so that's 11, right?
Yeah, and you got one on your head.
And I have one on my head. That would make 12. And then if you go across the top, there's only about 12 Giants hats that I currently currently have up, but I have about 42 more.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
not bad. Anyway, it's a nice decor in here.
Thank you.
With the banner there as well, the Stones Radio Network's banner on the back wall that could be the front wall. You were telling me.
Absolutely.
If we feel like it, and man, that freedom is just killing me.
I'm waiting to do a show of. Do you remember? I think we pitched this even on this show of Dr. Phantom with toy on the couch.
We
Dr.
pitched
Phantom,
that with-
PH Phantom,
I
or
think
something
we-
along those lines.
We did one where I was on the couch
Well,
once.
you were, yeah, but
I
you on the couch never
well,
works out.
That's a very good idea. We could do right now the way we are situated. We just put toy right there,
Yeah.
and I would earn my spurs. In fact, even though it's been, I don't want to tell you how many decades since I've graduated, I could probably get a case study going of toy.
Oh, easily.
And send it back to Sac State and get myself my doctorate.
You know what?
Or a master's at least, because that guy is, 3S? You have to write, usually you have to write, what do they call them, a theme paper, not a theme paper.
Thesis.
Thesis
Yep.
to get out of college usually
That's
for
a
most
3
things.
thesis.
That's a triple thesis guy right there.
Easily. We talked about Pell Grants last night. You could probably apply for a Pell Grant on
Oh
a
my
case study
God.
just on the toy.
Oh my God, you guys last night.
You could be rich just off studying the toy.
The thing of it is, though, is usually when as a
Anybody could,
as a
honestly.
potential therapist, which I obviously was,
Yeah.
the key is to try to get the person functioning back to some level of some semblance of reality. Or in some case, a lot of times they're fine. It's just they've got this one thing that's kind of it's like you want to go to 105.9 and you're at 105.5 on the digital, and you've got to kind of keep tweaking. But with him, I don't know what the goal would be of therapy. Because I would think his goal would be to have me as fucked up as he is by the time I'm done.
Well,
Pardon
first of
my
all,
French.
that would be his goal, but
I
again,
know.
remember, you
I'm
are the therapist.
I'm the doctor.
Okay, so
and that's
you
the name
can't
of the show.
allow him to do
Remember,
that.
I'm the doctor. The toy experiment, the Chris Toy experiment. Remember, I'm the doctor.
I like this.
God, that's a good T-shirt. The Chris
like
Toy.
that.
Remember that I'm the doctor. The Chris Toy experiment.
Don't start with T-shirts because I'm going to be launching this week
Oh, boy.
on the Stones Radio Network's
Right.
website a whole line of Stones Radio Network T-shirts.
Right, which I never seem to either receive or I never represented on any of these shirts.
Well, you are the last one.
I know
you were.
I know I'm just a mere peon in
The
this, in
last
the
one
hierarchy.
you. Okay, well then listen for the folks that are listening out there. Pitch ideas of T-shirts with the Phantom that you would like.
They don't have to be all me. I mean,
No, not. I won't choose them all. Trust me. I'll choose maybe one. Okay,
I
that's
think-
about it.
Remember, I'm the doctor. The Chris Toy experiment is my suggestion.
Okay, so we have now T-shirts.
Yes.
but
I don't mean have my picture on them.
no, but watch.
I definitely don't
I'm
mean
just
that.
saying, watch for sometime this week on the website. There will be a tab where you will be able to go and purchase yourself some Stones Radio Network gear.
As long as we're there, let's go ahead and get to. I was going to do this a little bit later. Let's go ahead and get to the you tweeted out that we were going to have a show today, and I thought a pretty cryptic tweet back to you, and you picked up on part of that right away. It seized on the entrepreneurial part of it right away. Saw right where I was going. So I think it's time that we have to go ahead and announce that we are, Potter's Radio now we'll count last year as a full year,
Yeah.
even though it wasn't.
Well, here-
So this will be our 4th year.
Some breaking news music for you.
Okay, all right. This is the 4th year of Potter's Radio, so I think we're ready to branch out. And last year, right before the pandemic, we were talking with Sierra College about maybe doing some of their baseball games and their softball games.
Yeah.
They were super interested. I think the last we talked to them, they were thinking of putting it off till what would have been this year. But
This
I
spring,
think
yeah.
they were really interested, so that was something we were excited about doing. So we are going to go ahead and say that we are going to put this out there. If you're a high school, junior college, 4-year college, whatever you happen to be, Potter, we call it Potter's Radio. It's Stones and myself. It's sometimes Chris Toy. We've got Max. We've got Kenny Parker. We got Zach. We got a lot of people.
We got a
we can
crew.
throw out there. But we'd like to, take our traveling circus and take it over to your arena,
Yes.
your stadium.
Let us bring this to you.
Let us
and
bring it to
produce
you
it to the masses.
for what we've decided, a very minimal fee, really,
very
just to
nominal.
cover basically us
Yeah.
and the equipment.
And some McDonald's.
And that could be extra too.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to do that, I saw that you had an email.
Yes, correct. stonesradio@yahoo.com. please, if you know of somebody that you haven't even talked to yet, but you know of somebody, shoot me an email and say, hey, I know so-and-so over here. Maybe you want to reach out to them.
Contact info.
We will take contact information on a fairly regular basis and see what we can do with it. But we're very interested in building not only the brand, but helping bring it to the people.
Yeah.
We have found so much joy in being able to broadcast Potters games to families all across the United States.
Absolutely true.
And we've made some cool friends with these families.
Well, you have.
I'm across.
Not,
Well, hey,
we're changing that this year.
Gas Station, Indiana?
I'm getting
Gas Station?
Gas City,
see,
Indiana.
there it is.
Mr. Nolan Young, yeah.
There it is. See?
No, you're absolutely right. And
so
we
we
look
want
at
to
all,
continue to do that.
We look at all of these high school, the four-year college, the junior college. Those all feeders into the Potters program. Basically, is the way we look at it. It's kind of under the Potters umbrella because it is in fact Potters Radio. So Stones Radio Networks at yahoo.com.
Yeah, Stones Radio at yahoo.com.
Yeah, if you have it, or if you know somebody, who's in a position of influence. Teams are trying to get their seasons going. I know that William Jessup is playing. I know there's some others are playing. I know that some of the junior colleges around here did not. I know they didn't get a basketball season, and baseball is still up in the air. But I think their perception is that baseball is like the safest because of the environment in which it's played.
They do. But there's still a lot of things that are going on
if
there.
you want to get, if you're a JC and you want to, it can only help you in recruiting if your games are broadcast. You bet. It's a lot of different benefits to getting your games on the air, and we just like doing them. That's basically why we're doing it.
And we have the platforms in place already, so it's really a plug and play situation.
Yeah, that's the Stones McCoy phenomenon. He's got everything going, and he's the thing is. He's upgrading things every summer. We come back, and the play-by-play is just if I get any better. Which I mean,
well, you are.
Yeah, I think
Come
so.
on.
But everything else is just exponentially growing with Stones and his mad scientist thing.
Well,
and we're bringing
the
in
ideas that you kick down. Come on.
Yeah, mostly they are. But my idea was not bring Chris Toy on board, and that is what you've done.
Well, too bad.
So we're going to try to get some other people that really know what they're doing to take his place. But he's actually done a great job when he's helped us out, and we look forward to him being part of the team this year. So anyway, we wanted to get that out there.
Absolutely.
While we're talking about merchandising and all that stuff.
Talking to you, Ryan Stevens.
We want to broaden out the base a little bit, and
he's got other gigs too. So I'm just saying, we're just throwing it out to a guy I particularly know who might have opportunities.
Okay. Sometimes you leave that stuff under the level. You don't. You're under the surface.
I throw it out there, man.
All right, so
let's run it over.
Let's get to the show.
Okay, let's do it.
I don't even know what you're talking about now. So we haven't done this show in a while, and I talked to you about, I want to say a week or two ago, because I see you periodically, and I talked to you and I said I was a little bit hesitant about this show resuming in the sense that I didn't know really what we were talking about. And you set me straight. You go, we're going to talk about what we always talk about, Phantom on Sports. That's what we want to do.
That's what we do.
But here's the thing, Stones.
Okay.
I was listening last night after the Super Bowl. I can say that because it's not in conjunction with any product.
Okay.
So I'm sitting around, because it turned out I had the unscripted show over at my house yesterday, socially distanced, but we had the show over.
Yes.
And so Miles was there and Dylan was there, and of course Zach was there. He was going to be there anyway. And my wife was happy because she had more people to make hors d'oeuvres for. And they told her, "Oh, Mrs. Lowe, that was really good." She loves that shit,
really
man.
jealous, to be
and
perfectly
it was
honest.
really good too.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. So we were sitting around afterwards. I know you and Chris were going on the air after the Super Bowl was over, but I couldn't listen right away because my other son called. He did his, what do you call it? I was going to say picture phone. What do you call it?
Oh,
FaceTime.
FaceTime.
He picture phone way better.
It was so fun.
And he does that, and he always, first of all, it's never a good connection. Secondly, he always holds the phone. The phone is always like right here.
From the crotch area.
He shoots his jowls. I'm like, dude, you're 26. Why do you have jowls? Anyway, so I couldn't check
his nostrils.
Unfortunately, too well. Unfortunately, he's got his dad's nostrils. Anyway,
whoa.
Yeah, I know. So anyway, I couldn't get to you guys right away. I finally did a little bit later, and you were talking about you. And the thing with you,
remind me.
The thing
I don't
with
recall.
you, no, the thing with you two guys is like sometimes if you check in on a sports show. you pretty much know what you're going to get. You know, and sometimes they'll go off book, or we'll go off book, or whatever, and talk about some other entertainment thing or something. But still, you kind of know what you're doing. With you guys, it's really a grab bag. And so I checked in. You were talking, if I remember correctly, you were talking about geese and goose, or maybe I think it was geese, going up to Canada, and you and I was very impressed by you. You said, "Oh yeah, they get fatter as they go further north because they get colder and they have to have more fat." And I'm like, "What does that do? Like a scientist?" That was awesome.
Thank you, factual statements.
That was awesome. Anyway, so I'm listening for a couple of minutes, and then I had to leave because Lola hadn't been outside in like a week.
And she was,
but she's looking at me like, "You're eating wings all day, and I can't even get outside.
I gotta go."
Yeah. So anyway, so I'm listening to you guys, and you guys did what you always do, or what you usually do, which is you just sound like whatever it is you're talking about is the best thing in the world to be talking about. It's a gift you guys have, because frankly, some of it is some pretty stupid shit.
It's bullshit.
But you were talking about having fat geese and going to Canada.
Yes.
And it struck me then that is what a podcast is. Right there, what you guys were doing. And I know you've done it for years.
Appreciate that.
But that is what a podcast is. Just guys or gal, it doesn't matter. Just people bullshitting about stuff.
That's what it's supposed to be, right?
The thing has turned now into a whole, obviously it's an industry because people do it and make money at it, but it's got niches over here and niches over there. And you guys are just like, I don't even care. We're just going to talk about geese going to Canada. I don't even care. And then we're going to talk about going to the dump. And then maybe later we'll talk about, I don't know, building a gazebo or something, I don't know, and then we'll talk about politics
or cocaine hippos, dude. Did you
I
miss
did not catch the cocaine hippos, and that's
bro.
not the point. You're missing the point now because I'm going off here.
Okay.
And it struck me as like that's what I want to do. Okay.
That's what we're doing right now.
No, that's not what I do though. What I do is do this and then go, well, I hope somebody discovers me. And that's the way it's been from the beginning, and you know that because you talked about it too in the beginning.
No, I did.
And that's the way I've always looked at it, which means that, see, the way you guys do a show, unless you sit around and look at each other, you can't have a bad show. I mean that. I mean, it's like, okay, I got together with my buddy, and we talked about whatever the hell was on our mind for 2 hours, and probably got a little baked, and then we went home. And that was it. And how can you have a bad show?
We never have a bad show.
But with me, it's like I feel like, well, if we talk about something, whatever, if it's with Zach or with Kenny or with you or whoever, if we talk about something, and I stand by every show that we do that I've done on your network because I always think the content is really good.
Yes,
because I don't listen to any shows on any other platforms that have better content. Now we're not as smooth as some of those shows, or a little rough around the edges, but that's what I say. But I feel like there's a letdown for me because I don't feel like it's connecting to people because all of a sudden I don't get discovered again. Now, remember, when we first started the Potters, one of the reasons I wanted to do the Potters is because I wanted people to know I wasn't dead.
Oh, yeah, because people thought you were.
People thought I was dead, and it's turned into it. Like you said before, it's turned into, I just love doing it. It's fantastic fun. It's great, and you meet some great people. But that's always, for me, that's always that marker. Like, if I'm not back in the game, then I'm not very good, so... I have a lot of more potential dissatisfaction than you guys do, because you're just bullshitting.
You're
and
right.
I think the unscripted guys do the same. That's why I kind of wanted to refer them to you in the beginning because I thought they did a very similar show to you guys.
Oh, they do, and they do. And we talked. We had the ending segment
scares the crap out of me. There's 5 of you.
Well, the ending segment we very much devoted to the unscripted boys.
Really?
Yeah,
that's very nice.
We had to talk. Well, it was very nice if you if you listen to the whole thing through, because it didn't start out very nice.
Well, that's good. I like that.
Because our young man over there, Miles, who's a great guy. I love Miles.
Okay.
And I even
we're not airing any dirty laundry.
No. But I had to.
We're still talking about me.
I had to create a compliment sandwich though last night.
Thank you for saying that. That is exactly right.
Okay, I had to do it. So I was like, Miles, love you to death. You said Andy Reid should be considered one of the GOATs of head coaching. I'm sorry, you're a moron. I love the show. Keep it up, guys.
Okay. Couple of things about that. First of all, that's a compliment sandwich, and I love that. Secondly, that's an opinion, though, so it's not really. I thought you were going to criticize him about some technical thing.
Couldn't do that.
Fantastic. Here's the other thing. It's so funny that you say compliment sandwich because about, I don't know, 3 or 4 days ago. We're eating dinner at home, and there's some thing on the news. They're talking about somebody, and they're talking about the ratio of compliments to criticism. And they were saying it was 5. You're supposed to do 5 to 1. And I'm like, no, you're not. You use the compliment sandwich. And
You're
like,
good
what's
to
that?
go.
And I'm like, compliment? Compliment. So to hear you say that, I am somehow vindicated.
Yes.
And yet that is a psychological fact, and that's where I got it from my years, which I did not get a doctorate, but I will soon.
I think I got it
thanks
from
to
my
Chris Toy.
my 1 quarter in psych. in
Anyway, so
college.
my point was being that it's like I don't have the same view of it or same expectation of it. So I open myself up to like, well, what is the point of doing this?
I got it. You've got to let me have a minute to explain this
All
to
right,
you.
hold on.
You have had a level of success in the game of radio because that's what we're still pretending this is.
Yeah,
yes, this
absolutely.
is podcast, but we're pretending it's radio.
Exactly.
And you have had a level of success that none of us currently on the network
Yes.
have had. So we don't know what it feels like to have been sitting on a top of a mountain and not be there currently.
No, that's
Okay?
a fair point.
We don't have
You're
that.
making a lot of sense today.
Chris and I, the toy and I, the closest we can come is at the highlight of the Stones and Toy Show when we had 1,500 subscribers.
That's fantastic.
And it was a really big deal. I mean, we had people in Japan and overseas and stuff. It was cool. And then we broke up for a while. When we get back together, there's none of them. That was our feeling. So I can understand what you're saying, but it's a totally different level. Your level of success was and it was an extended period of time. It wasn't like you just hit it and you fell off.
Yeah,
you
we
were
were doing it all
doing
the
it for
time.
a while.
Well, what do you think was when you guys were and this was kind of before I kind of got involved, maybe that's why I was successful. What do you think was what was it about you guys that attracted that kind of widespread audience?
It was the randomness in which we did our shows. And I can now see it, and I didn't then. Randomness is part of the fabric of the new generation. Okay?
Because it's an ADD thing. That's what we should call our show.
There you go. Why?
What was the name of your show again?
I don't know. ADD.
You're good.
So I think it has a direct correlation, and I hate to use it, but with memes, with the meme culture.
Oh,
okay?
Man. Oh, jeez.
How I don't understand memes. You don't understand memes. Most of us don't understand memes. But when it's explained to me, it's something you see that makes zero sense to you.
Yeah,
And
well,
that's somehow funny. We started
Yes,
we started doing that on the air a long time ago. And for whatever reason, that translated. Our random BS that was coming out of our mouths was a radio meme.
yeah.
And it caught on with certain people. And let's be honest, we had folks like you and Don Geronimo and Drew Hoffer and Little Joe and people like that helped push our brand a little bit too.
Yeah.
You know, but that was what it was. It's always been our weird, random ramblings.
Well, the memes and gift things I think is worthwhile discussing at some point because I understand what they are. I just don't understand why they are.
Exactly, me either.
I have arguments or discussions with Zach all the time. And I says the thing that bugs me is when people say they'll put a picture. I don't even know how to do that. Put a picture. Go. Who is this guy? Answering gifts only. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, okay, so the person that picks the coolest thing that's the funniest person or something?
Dude.
I don't understand why that works or how that works.
Well, yeah, I had the same thing with this stupid fantasy football league that Chris made me join with his friends, that they have a prize for the stupidest or best GIF over the entire course of the year.
Well, why am I not surprised?
And I'm like, but how do you pick the right one?
I don't know.
I don't get it, dude.
I don't understand
get
either.
it.
But anyway, so that's my point. I kind of like it's at a point sometimes where the expectation level makes it harder to enjoy doing it, and that's kind of the situation I found myself in sometimes. And I'm trying to put that aside. I've been able to do that with Potters. It's not Potters. I don't do Potters now to go, hey, look what
You see it
I
in a
just like
different
doing
light.
Potters.
Yeah.
I like doing Potters, and whatever happens, and that's great.
Yeah.
But we've got a little community now.
We do.
And we've got a little, like you say, I mean, just talking about the guys on the radio, like with you and I and Chris and if Max is still around, obviously he's part of the family, and we're trying
Always
to
will be.
indoctrinate a couple of new people this year, just so we have depth, because there's going to be more games probably. So I mean that's just a lot of fun. But the other thing, you know, I don't know. There's just a level of it that's just hard for me to deal with, as far as like I don't know. What do you call it? Not reinforcement, really, just kind of feedback, kind of communication and stuff.
Well, yeah, and you know, I will say that in the last 4 or 5 months, it makes a difference. At least I'm going to pat myself on the. It makes a difference when I'm not doing this and I'm not around involved in it.
Yeah,
I do think that when you and I start doing stuff together again, you feel different about what we're doing. We start to bring back more of what you're comfortable and familiar with, as far as what you do on the radio, you know?
Yeah.
And we start to expand. I told you at the very beginning of this, you do drop a lot of knowledge in things about what we should do as far as broadcasts and stuff are concerned. So a lot of that information, a lot of the new things that come out, they come from you once we get back to doing what we do. Because then you're like, oh, dude, we should do this. Oh, dude, we should do that.
Yeah, because I have nothing else to do but listen to stuff all the time.
But we do it, and you have fun with it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
It's just a mess. I don't know how to.
Well, you're a
it's
mess,
just a mess.
bro.
I'm a mess, and the whole thing's a mess. And you're Stones McCoy, and I remember when we named you, and now you've got a network, and I don't even know how the hell that happened.
I only have it. All of this, I only have it because of you. You realize
That's
that.
True. Yeah, because
I wouldn't still be doing this had you not reached out and said, "Hey, dude," after you and the other one, you guys stopped working. Had you not reached out and said, "Hey, dude, I think we should do something together," there would not be a Stones Radio.
And
Network.
look at how great it is. I mean, even if we just talk about it from the part of Potter's Radio, look how great it is.
Oh yeah,
and look how much I mean, that's what makes me feel good about this, is that you get a chance to get involved with that, and I know that baseball is. That's it for you. And now, again, and I don't want to, I know Matt will probably listen to this at some point, and I don't want him to fear for his job, but you're like an executive in waiting. That's what you are.
I just want 1%.
You like to get your hands on all the pies.
I do, man.
When you do something, you write, okay, I'm doing this, and you can master it, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, maybe I'll do that now, and maybe I want to figure out how to do that, and that's why, as I said, that's why the Potters organization, or like our presentation of a game or Gamecast have improved so much, just because of the innovations that you put in. But you talk about young people, so let's turn it a little bit to sports.
Let's do that.
This is the thing I decided yesterday watching the Super Bowl halftime. You cannot ask anybody to grade the Super Bowl halftime who doesn't like the person who's playing Super Bowl halftime. In other words, if you ask me, how'd you like the weekend? I don't know. It's just a guy. It was a guy singing, and maybe
I thought you were asking how my weekend was.
No, the weekend without the second E.
So, no, it's got to be the weekend.
How do you like the weekend?
Weekend.
That's too dangerous. I don't want to say that too many times. But see, that's the thing. It's like, and you see it. I talk about you see it on Twitter all the time. People are like, this has got to be the worst halftime show ever. Well, you're not qualified to grade it. Now, whether they have pitched it to a too niched audience is one thing, because many of the people watching the Super Bowl are over 35.
Yes.
And they don't know who The Weeknd is.
No.
And they don't really care who it is.
I know who it is because of my daughter.
Right. You do know who it is. But my point is that it's like the unscripted guys.
Yeah.
They're the ones who should be grading was that a good halftime show, because they like that guy.
Yeah.
Or they at least know his music. And that's the thing. And, that was the thing about years ago when it was the classic rock acts. Everybody was rebelling against that because it was the younger people. And now, so if you're going to say, okay, you don't know why we enjoy seeing The Who up there, and now we have to say, okay, why do you like seeing The Weeknd, or why do you like seeing, Beyonce or Bruno Mars or
But that's
whoever
why they used to do the crossover thing where they'd have two bands. They'd have the young group and the old group.
That's exactly right, Stones. That's what I was saying to the guys yesterday, because I was saying I like it when they have, and even more so these days, it lends itself. People collaborate on stuff all the time.
Hell
now.
yes.
So I like when they do the genre bending.
Yes.
Like when they have a country artist with a pop star, or a country artist with a hip hop star.
Like the national anthem was, I really, believe it or not, really enjoyed the national anthem. I liked having the cross stars doing it. I really enjoyed that. I 100% agree with you, though. Had they put in a different or a second act or just a blend act, right? So they could do a song together.
Well,
bring in Aerosmith. I mean,
you're just making a point. But like I said, like a person who's involved, like why not bring in Gwen Stefani?
Oh, perfect.
Or something like that.
Yes,
You know what I'm saying?
yes.
Something like that. Because those collaborations are usually dynamite.
Totally.
They are.
The Foo, right?
Yeah.
You you bring these two people together. You've got two, and you can really kind of bring two
I really think that should be what they do.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know that one song about I Can't Feel My Face, but I don't know any other of his songs. And when I heard he said, well, I'm not going to have any collaborations, I'm like,
but I love it. But I love it.
Well, I kind of like it, but not that version. But when he said, I'm not going to collaborate with anybody, I was like disappointed. I'm like, why don't you bring somebody out?
You really should. It helps. Well, not only that, I think it, as a marketing manager, it helps build your brand.
It really does.
Okay.
Plus, it's good for the artist.
Hell yeah.
Now, maybe if he's going to do the whole show himself, he thinks that's a big, I don't want to share that. But if you're doing the halftime show, and you collaborate with somebody on, one snippet, and that goes well, you get the buzz too.
Oh yeah.
Not only that person, but you, and that's what people don't understand. I think
cross promotion. That's what we do it all the time.
Yeah,
so it's very important.
That is kind of like, because I mean,
I was disappointed when the halftime show ended and he finished his song and there was nothing left. I said, because I was watching it with the toy, and I said, I can't believe he just did the entire halftime show by himself.
Right.
I can't believe that. When is the last time that happened?
I don't know. But, I mean, maybe they felt like we've already used everybody. We don't want to get anybody. And this is a tough year, too. Maybe people didn't want to travel and do it. I understand that. But I do think that in the future, they should do those crossover or not crossover, combination
combos,
things.
yeah.
Because, I mean, that's one of those channels, not Austin City Limits or something. I don't know. They used to have a show on there where they would take different artists from different genres and put them together.
Yeah.
And they were fantastic.
It was great.
And they get country, like Don Henley and country people. I mean, I know that's not that.
I was going to say Don Henley's kind of
country. The Eagles are country. But anyway, so that's my advice for the future is go ahead and put some in there. Put some in there for everybody because musicians love to collaborate.
Yeah.
They love to do that.
Obviously the Weeknd doesn't, but I mean, most musicians do.
Obviously he doesn't. Yeah, other musicians do. But anyway, so.
I was really hoping he was going to get lost in that cube thing.
There was
there's fingers crossed that he wouldn't come out.
He was kind of in the house.
I was really hoping.
If those of us who remember the man with the golden gun,
there you go,
James Bond, he went in that mirror thing. I thought maybe he wasn't going to come out.
Oh, that would have been awesome.
So I would like to see. I would like to see combinations of that. So, but what are you going to do?
Honestly, this year, let's be honest, the Super Bowl happened in Tampa Bay with Tampa Bay.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You couldn't have done anything else during halftime.
It's crazy
to make anything different other than this is being played. This is a home game for Tom Brady.
Yeah, well, I mean
it wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have mattered.
I don't want to go on a limb, and talk about analysis, but they could have played that game literally in Alaska, and I think it would have come out 31-9.
Oh, if you had the same refs, you mean?
No, if you had the same offensive lineman for Kansas City. Let's just talk about this, my friend.
All right.
And here's another thing.
Okay.
This ties into what I was saying before.
Yeah.
On the Generation Gap show, the last one, I nailed this Super Bowl. I said everything I said Tampa Bay's going to win. I didn't want to say that because I wanted Kansas City, and I did not want Tampa Bay.
I did too.
But I had to say it. Zach took Kansas City, and I said no Tampa because I couldn't get past the depleted offensive line of Kansas City. I just couldn't get past it.
Well, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I've been so busy, I didn't pick up on the Kansas City having two offensive linemen out. I didn't pick up on that until pregame when I had saw it, and then I went, that's going to be a huge difference in this game.
It was some of the pundits or the people who are supposed to be in the know were explaining it. Well, these new guys they plugged in, they've been good all year and they've done fine. But you can tell.
Yeah.
You could tell watching, a couple of plays, it just wasn't going to work out. Plus, it seemed to me that especially in the first quarter, the first couple times they had the ball, Mahomes does that thing where he turns his back to the defense, and then he goes back a little and he turns around and picks somebody out to throw. But the first couple of times he did that, when he turned back around,
there was somebody right there.
There's somebody right there. Plus, he couldn't find the guy he wanted. And
yeah.
right then, I was like, okay, he's not comfortable with the look he's getting on the defense, and that's a dangerous thing.
Well, I think there was a huge difference, first of all, from the last game that the Bucks and Kansas City played where the Bucks beat them, okay, and this game.
Absolutely.
Okay, and there's a big difference between those two games. And in that first game, the Bucks blitzed just like they did all year, 60% of the snaps in that game. They were constantly blitzing. All right, and they were able to defeat Mahomes in that game. I honestly believe that the Chiefs went into this thinking, dude.
No, wait, I thought the Chiefs won that game against Tampa Bay.
No, I'm talking about the game against the Chiefs that Tampa Bay won.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and they did. That's exactly what they did. They blitzed constantly. It was a constant blitz. This game, I think, the Chiefs thought that that's what was going to happen, and they only blitzed less than 10% of the time.
Yeah, but they still seemed like they were getting someone through,
and that's the thing is, so Kansas City was setting up their offensive line for protecting of blitz. It wasn't there. Now they've got guys standing around not knowing what the hell's going on, and you have that delayed rush. They were in the backfield the entire game. Even when he was able to throw, there was two guys in the backfield.
They said that he was pressured on 29 of 56 dropbacks, which is the most in Super Bowl history. And Tom Brady was pressured on 4 of 30, which is the fewest in Super Bowl history. So my theory about I get to your quarterback and protect mine basically decided the game.
Yeah, exactly.
And as you say, Mahomes turned around and looked, and he couldn't find guys. He didn't know where they were coming from. Which it was pretty obvious that the players might have been equal. The coaching was not equal.
No.
For whatever reason, Andy and his guys just didn't have it. What they thought was going to happen is not what happened. And whether they were outsmarted, I don't know. Whether it was bad luck, I don't know. But whatever the Tampa Bay defense was doing, the Kansas City had no answer for it.
And it blew my mind because Kansas City all year long, and we talked about this when we were doing the show, Kansas City has always had the ability to make adjustments.
Yes.
We've seen them make adjustments within a quarter, okay, to defenses.
Yeah.
And we've seen them do this all year long. If not in a quarter, they'll go into halftime and come out in the third, and they change the dynamic of the game. Never were they able to come up with a reason or a way to beat whatever Tampa Bay was running out there.
They never schemed away, and it never looked like it.
That blew my mind.
Anybody, no matter how good they are, if they get pressured all the time, they're going to expect pressure.
Yeah.
And that's what Mahomes was doing. I don't know that he ever completed a pass staying in the pocket.
Oh, I don't think so.
Because he just got out. And that was the way that Tampa Bay beat Green Bay 2 weeks ago, is that Rodgers tried to get out of the pocket and he couldn't.
Yep.
Now, Mahomes could, but still didn't really have it. And there were a couple of catches that could have been made, or a couple that should have, and a couple that could have.
Well, when the ball hit you in the face mask in the end zone.
That one was so weird. And the reason that one was weird is obviously it's Mahomes throwing a play, throwing a ball from shortstop to first base as he's falling down, right? And he threw it 30 yards that way. And I really feel like the receiver, who's a running back, really didn't think there was any way that ball was going to get to him. So he didn't get ready. You noticed he was not ready.
I understand that.
I don't think when he saw that ball thrown.
At the same time, for 17 weeks or 16 weeks.
I know, you're right.
You have seen him make throws like this.
You're right.
And that dude's on his team.
I know.
So he's seen him do it like other places.
Not like that. That throw, if completed, would have been the greatest pass in the history of football.
Yeah.
If completed in the Super Bowl for a touchdown.
For 30 yards from,
from this position right here.
From 5 or 6 inches above the ground.
Yeah, no, like Dan Quisenberry throws a touchdown pass.
100% agreed. But but it hit you in the face mask.
Well, and Tyreek Hill early in the game had one of the goal line that was in his hands, and Travis Kelce dropped one right in his hands. So drops, I talked about all the time. Yards lost to drops is a huge stat.
That's brutal.
And it's even more so in the big game where you can't get anything else going.
Yep.
It's like, okay, it's like when the Bears did the trick play and they threw it to the guy in the end zone and it just went right through his arms and didn't even go. They're like, dude, we had to do a trick play to even get open.
Yeah.
And now you're going to let it go right through. Zach says that wasn't a drop because the guy never touched it.
No, it wasn't a drop. He didn't touch it.
It wasn't an error if it was baseball because the guy never touched the ball.
Just like the touchdown that didn't happen in the very beginning of the game with the offensive lineman that declared open.
Yeah.
He was wide open.
He was open.
That ball went right through his hands.
Well, the offensive lineman got it, but the other guy punched it out.
It just was.
Yeah. I mean, he had it. It's like, dude, you're like 800 pounds. Just squeeze it.
Come on.
Squeeze it like it's a rack of lamb, brother.
Oh, man. But, dude, the game didn't cover. Okay.
That's right.
Not even close to covering. It's the prop bets. I saw this whole thing on prop bets.
Well,
were all effed up.
I know, but the thing is like, here's what I was thinking. We were talking about this watching the game. It's like, when you're going to do prop bets, you just pick a team that you think is going to win.
Yep.
And you try to derive your prop bets from that. You know
That's
what I'm saying?
what I did, yeah.
So if you take Tampa Bay and it says Fournette rushes for 50 yards or whatever it was, it said, yeah, that probably is a way they're going to win.
Yep.
And the easiest one to me was Gronk touchdown.
Damn you. Why didn't I call you ahead of time? I took the bet, okay? I took it, and
I
said,
put Gronk touchdown? It's
no,
easy.
I said no.
Oh, my God, bro.
But the line was for the first touchdown.
Okay, well, that's a little different.
The line was for the first
that's
touchdown,
a little
and
different.
I said no effing way that happened.
Okay. The first touchdown of the game or the first touchdown for Tampa?
First touchdown for Tampa.
Okay, I would have probably put money down on that because
I couldn't.
I just felt like, and I don't know that this factored into it, but it's just another way of sticking it to Belichick.
I know it's another way of sticking it to Belichick, but because of those two guys being literally best friends, have you watched the stupid YouTube show that they do?
No, but I watched. Their commercial was good.
They stick their feet in this little stupid plastic pool back in Tampa Bay.
I don't want
and they giggle at each other.
Okay, here's the thing. Like I said,
it's horrible.
Their commercial was good.
Yeah,
but I am resisting any effort to make Tom Brady seem like a normal human being.
No,
he doesn't do human being stuff. Well, he doesn't stick his feet in a pool. Or maybe he does.
He does
in a massive infinity.
No, he does.
Pool
No.
The size of a football field.
He does it in one of those little, one ring plastic pools that you buy at Walmart for $12.
Is it full of Perrier?
No,
or
it's full of water.
No, come on, Tom Brady.
You know who wasn't dipping his foot? Gronk.
No,
Tom had to get Gronk to dip his foot.
Gronk's like, I seriously think Gronk's going to retire every year now.
Why not?
And they call him back. And then if they win the Super Bowl, he might come back. If not, he's going to really retire.
Dude, I would.
He's
got the life. But I just figured that in that game, they know of that combination. Andy Reid knows of that combination.
Right, but
they've got to play it. They've got to play it much better than they played it. Okay.
Your mindset is. I understand how come your process is good.
Yeah,
I understand that. But one thing we found out yesterday is Andy Reid and his coaches had 2 weeks, and things we thought they needed to do, they obviously didn't do.
Well, and again, I apologize to Miles ahead of time, but that's why I had to say bad things about Miles' take on Andy Reid being a GOAT
because
head coach.
He cost you money, huh?
Well, but I did this after the fact, but it was even before the fact that I felt that way. But it just has exacerbated my point when Andy Reid pissed the bed yesterday.
Yeah, but I mean that Gronk touch. That's you go by which team. Now, obviously, if you were picking the Chiefs, you would have lost all those. But
yeah.
That's no surprise. If you pick Tampa Bay, then you go ahead and follow with Tampa Bay props. And, Fournette for 70 yards or touchdown for Gronk or Brady however many yards. And I never thought he was going to have that many yards yesterday. And he had barely 200.
Yeah.
And Mahomes, I think, had 260 or something like that. So I think that was probably under what his over was.
And had I taken the bet on neither one of the quarterbacks going over 300, I would have won money because that's what I was putting money down on, and I pulled it back.
What was your principle? What were you thinking? I mean, what got,
I was betting with Toy.
Got you motivated to bet, though?
I was betting with Toy, and I was drinking beers, and so those are the two things.
You don't drink beers unless we're playing Potters baseball.
I know, and that's where my mistake was. Yeah. That's where my big mistake was.
So yeah, I mean, as a game, it was
disappointing.
Disappointing because it was, and again at the end, well, your Andy Reid boy at the end of the first half. They score. I think they score the field goal, and then Tampa Bay gets the ball back, and it's like on first down with 40 seconds, they run a play. They get like 6 yards immediately. Kansas City calls timeout, and immediately I go nuts.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you doing?
What the fuck?
That never works.
No.
Do you remember what
Yes.
they did at the end of the half last time?
Thank you.
And he goes, and then they call timeout on first down. Then they call timeout on third down again. I'm like, well, it's 3rd and 2. They'll probably get the first down, and then they've got their own one timeout they can play with and stuff like that. And I mean, that's not even like going, well, I outsmarted Andy Reid. That's basic stuff.
Basic
I mean,
math.
dude, why are you giving the other team more chances to win?
There was
That's
no
stupid.
reason.
Plus, Kansas City gets the ball to start the second half. So you're going to get the ball right back.
It made no sense. It didn't make any sense.
Terrible.
It was I saw online that some people were like, well, no, that's the aggressive move right there. That's the right. No, it's not. It's a dumb move right there. Okay?
Yeah,
it's a dumb move.
It is a dumb move.
So I'm sorry. It was just a bad day for Chiefs fans.
Yeah,
and
it was.
a really bad day for Andy Reid.
Well, the problem is that
and Patrick Mahomes, bless his soul, I don't think any differently of Patrick Mahomes after yesterday's game. I don't.
I understand what you're saying, and I was just going to say that it's not really the kind of game that you can blame people. I mean, I blame Andy Reid for that move he made, and you can blame a guy, well, you dropped this pass or whatever. I don't really blame Kansas City that much. They got beat by a better team.
Yeah.
And that team was just better. Whether they're better all the time or just better yesterday, it doesn't really matter. They just got beat by a better team.
They did.
But I'm not going to say Patrick Mahomes did not play well.
He didn't
Now,
play
there
well.
was obviously a lot of reasons, but if that's a different quarterback who gets pressured and has the same numbers, I think we're criticizing him a little bit more than we're doing Patrick Mahomes.
But I think if another quarterback is in there and gets pressured the same way Mahomes got pressured, I don't think the numbers are anywhere close to
They gave him a lot of garbage at the end of that game.
I realize that, but I still don't think the numbers are even close to what Mahomes was able to do. They were in the backfield every single offensive snap Kansas City took.
Okay.
All right?
I mean, yeah, mathematically you're almost right.
So I just give me another quarterback currently in the league that could move.
I'm not saying
with that
anybody.
happening.
I'm not saying anybody.
Lamar, maybe.
I'm not saying anybody could do that better. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that you have to go. The guy had 260 yards, no touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. I mean, that's not a good game.
No, it's not.
I just got to say that. Now, again,
he had 2 touchdowns dropped.
Well, sorta. I mean, sorta. He did. He had 2 touchdowns on the hands of people, and that would have made it a lot different, obviously. But I'm saying is
he did. He got beat by a better team.
He didn't play a good game. He didn't say he sucked. He's terrible. He's not good.
That's why I say I don't think
ridiculous.
anything differently of him after that game.
The thing that he did do, though, is throw the most spectacular incompletion in the history of football, and I think that is. Some people are like, well, I mean. Yeah, he didn't play a good game, but do you see what he almost did?
No doubt.
He gets like NBA respect on stuff that he tries.
Yes.
That only NBA players do. You didn't really do a 720 there, but you did a 360, and that was a good try.
It was pretty sweet.
In his case, that play that we're talking about, I think I'm pretty safe in saying that no one has ever tried that before from that position.
I don't think
30 yards away.
I don't think you would want to.
Who else would do that? You could see Dan Marino going like that? I mean,
no.
He would hurt himself.
I was thinking about just people in general that I could see doing that. Omar Vizquel.
That's what we would do. Like, if we were doing a radio show, we would go, okay, look, I wanted everybody to come out to the field.
Yep.
And we're going to put a mattress on the ground.
We're going to recreate
And we want to see if you can do that. And the person who could throw it the farthest with the best accuracy would win a prize. And we'd get, obviously, a great sponsor.
I will give them a prize. Let's get this set up. Let's do this.
I want to see people try to do that.
I want to do the tennis thing, too.
Oh, that's right. I forgot the tennis thing.
Yes.
What's the tennis thing again?
Remember the tennis thing is we're going to smack somebody in the neck with a tennis ball?
Oh, that's right, because that's what the
old lady.
Yeah, that's right. Djokovic did because he got suspended from it.
We're going to do that one.
That is a good one.
We have a couple we got to do.
That's a very good one.
If we get like 2 or 3 more of these ideas, we package them together.
It's like a decathlon almost. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Wow.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
Keep it up. Keep them wheels turning, buddy.
Well, I mean, I just thought of it. I just now, as far as the throwing thing, because somebody would probably break their collarbone, so you probably have to
We're not signing anything.
One time,
any of that stuff.
Okay.
No.
One time when we were doing a pumpkin drop.
If you show up to do it, it's on your own.
One time when we were doing the pumpkin drop, because we used to do the pumpkin drop on the day after Halloween. I don't know why we decided to start doing that, but we were doing that, and this is like 15 years
It's
ago.
because
probably.
you don't want to keep the pumpkin the day after.
Right.
Come on.
No, it was a brilliant idea. I'm
That's
just saying,
why.
I don't know why we started doing it, because we were doing the drops, and we're dropping them off cranes and stuff.
Because
So,
Whitey's an idiot. He loves that shit.
yeah, but he never went. I always went. But anyway, so we're doing it, and I remember because it was like right by where I was living at the time in Carmichael, and we're doing it in like this parking lot of like a mini mall kind of parking lot. And so there's like probably dozens of pumpkins, and we're dropping them, and there's shards all over the place. And this one genius decided he was going to go ice skating on pumpkin shards.
What did he break?
So when we visited him in the hospital, we were told that we had to be very nice because he didn't sign anything.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't think. I may be wrong about that. Statute of limitations. No, I think he did. I think there was some sort of coverage, but it was like, well, if he actually goes like a civil suit or something, then maybe
You could still
nobody
get
knows.
screwed.
In those days, lawyers were stupid.
You were getting sued regardless.
We knew that, and so they said,
Yeah.
"Hey, listen, you got to go visit. You got to go visit Chris in the hospital because the dude had shattered his ankle, man."
You mean the pumpkin
And they
skater?
and of course they said, like, oh, well, why do we have to go visit him? Well, he shattered his ankle because he was shoving. Well, why the fuck did he do that? Why did we have to go be nice to him so he doesn't?
I didn't know you guys were doing a pumpkin skate.
That reminded me of something like because the guy somebody would break their collarbone, but still,
I
anyway, it
remember
was
you
a lot
guys
of fun.
had some guy come out and wear a helmet.
We did that over at we did that with Dawn, I think, because
KTK.
Craig did that, I think.
That's right. It was Craig.
Yeah, Craig did that, and we threw pumpkins at him from the
From the roof, right?
from the roof, and and that was only one story too, and those pumpkins hurt, and that's I think maybe why Craig never called me. But
we could talk about that some other time.
oh, certainly we can. But that was a lot of fun.
I remember
That was a lot of fun.
I
Okay,
remember that.
so what were we talking about? Oh yeah, Mahomes. Oh, one more thing about you and your hating Miles.
Oh yeah, I don't hate Miles. Miles, I love you, bro.
You hate Miles, and the reason that I want to give you fuel for that fire
I
is
actually think he's too much like me, and that's why I hate him.
maybe we'll get you on the couch too, because that is not a good statement. To
Okay,
make.
okay, all right.
Anyway, so we're over there. We're watching the game with the unscripted crew, and Miles has played some squares, right?
Yes.
He has four squares, obviously two separate things. And his first one was 4 and 9. And we go, well, what's your other one? And he says, I think it's 4 and 9 too, or something like that. I don't know what it is. I don't know what I didn't get it from the guy or something.
Okay.
So we go, okay. So to the game is 21-9 for a while. And we're like going, well, all they need is a field goal, and you got your 4 and 9, so we're all getting excited.
Yeah.
And it doesn't hit, and then it's 31-9, so we're rooting for Tampa Bay to add on a meaningless field goal.
Yeah.
And at the end of the game, we're oh crap, you didn't get it. So then he calls the guy, and the guy goes, hey, you don't even know, do you? And Miles, in his Miles way, goes, no. He goes, you had 1 and 9, you won like $800.
No shit. I hate you so much, you son of a bitch.
So he tells us that. We're like, what the hell is wrong with you? We're sitting here screaming for the field goal. So we were rooting against Miles to win. We failed, so he won like I don't know if it's $800. But he hit his two squares, and those were numbers a lot of times because it's every time the score changes.
Every time the score.
Right? So if it goes to the end of a quarter, and it's 1-9, and he had that a couple times, and obviously he had that at the end of the game, which is where the big money is. And he did. So we're sitting around after the game, going, that was pretty close. You almost won all the money. Yeah.
Well,
and then he gets his phone call.
Nobody told Miles that the annual fee for being a part of Stones Radio Networks was $800. Did they? Did anybody tell him that?
I think legally you have to tell them before they do a show. I mean, where's your lawyer? You don't have a lawyer.
No, I don't have a lawyer, so I don't need one. So
you get your wife to go after him?
Yeah, I mean, I got the mafia that lives here.
Yes, absolutely.
We're good to go. All right, well, congratulations, Miles, you son of a bitch.
And before we leave football, we have to give a little mention to the Hall of Fame class because Tom Flores got in finally, and that is tremendous news. Also, for those Cowboys fans out there, Drew Pearson.
I heard about
the
it.
Veterans Committee. But the 5.
I heard about it all week.
I talk about this with Zach on the Generation Gap all the time. This Football Hall of Fame never seems to have less than 25 people that you could name into the Hall of Fame right away and not have any arguments.
Without a doubt.
They take it from 25 to 15, and then they name usually 5 from what they call the current class. And it goes with some veterans committees and stuff like that. But they always have everybody that makes it to the 15 is certainly a Hall of Famer.
Without a doubt.
It's just not their time yet, right? So they got 3 first-timers this time, which was odd on Peyton Manning and Charles Woodson. And Calvin Johnson, I didn't know if he would make it because
Megatron?
Well, I love him.
I know.
There's a couple of wide receivers who are waiting in the queue, like Torrey Holt, who have magnificent numbers.
Better numbers than
and
Tron.
Better total numbers because Tron only played 9 years, I think. And Torrey Holt played 12 or 13, maybe 14, and he has something like 14,000 receiving yards. I mean, he has a credit, like we said.
No,
if you make it to the 15,
career.
your resume is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
So I thought he would make it this year, and maybe Megatron would go next year. But then next year, Steve Smith gets eligible and a couple others. So they've always got people down the pike. Yeah. And Alan Faneca, who was a guard, who was a guy on the finals list last year. So you sit there and I remember these
from.
I think he played for the Oilers.
Okay.
No, Steelers.
Steelers.
And anyway, so you look these
really
guys
familiar.
up. The linemen you look up because you don't really remember.
Yeah.
And every time you look up a lineman, well, he was a Pro Bowl 9 years and All Pro 8 years. Okay, that guy deserves to be, and he's all decade team. Okay, he deserves probably to be in the Hall of Fame. And he had to wait his turn, like I think it was either 6 or 10 years he had to wait.
Oh.
And this is a guy who was 8 times All-Pro, okay? He's all-decade, and he had to wait a long time because usually they don't ration it out, but usually one offensive lineman or defensive lineman.
No, you're right.
And they don't do 3 offensive linemen. They have a half a dozen they could do, but they don't do it that way.
Do you think that there should be maybe a proposed slight change to the way the NFL Hall of Fame operates in that, like, for instance, when you say a guy is, 8 and say 8 and 8, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's an automatic you're in. And to allow some of the other ones that are waiting or trying, on the fringe elements to get them more.
But the problem with that
as
is
opposed to just flooding it every time because you're like you just said, they're going one offensive and one. I mean, every friggin' year you should have several offensive, defensive.
Well, they
players.
always have guys. It's like when you go to 7-Eleven and you take the first 7-Up out, all the 7-Ups fill in behind it.
Exactly.
They've always got enough guys to fill in behind it. But then when some guys come in like Peyton Manning and Charles Woodson, well, they're not going to go in the queue.
No.
So then that builds up the queue even more. So they have so many people. But
That's
if you
what I'm
all of a
saying.
sudden, you can't let 10 people in a year because it takes away from it, I think. Because they're always, if you get more than, they have 8 people this year, 5.
What if you spread it out through the year?
Well, they can't really do that, though. I mean, as far as tactically, it doesn't last us every year. I just think they're going to leave it the same way because every class that goes in, there's never anybody. Sometimes in baseball, they never let anybody in anyway.
I was going to say.
Sometimes in basketball, there's guys like Rudy Tomjanovich or like a Kevin Johnson or a Mitch.
Just clear up the queue, I guess, is what I'm getting.
The queue
at.
It's going to get really stacked. I mean, I remember Steve Smith from the next one. I think DeMarcus Ware is eligible next time, and Robert Mathis, and so a lot of really good guys.
Guys that are going to make
and
it.
You go, well, DeMarcus Ware, you look, I mean, he's got 1 billion sacks and stuff, and so that then you got Steve Smith, and there's another wide receiver, I forget who it was, is going to be eligible, but now you've got still Torrey Holt and a couple other guys who are waiting in the queue, so you can't, I don't think that Steve Smith is good enough to jump Torrey Holt and get to, he's not a Megatron.
No.
He's not getting to the front of the class, so then he goes into the queue, and then when Torrey Holt,
but he's going to make
let's
it.
just say Torrey Holt gets out, and then Steve Smith moves up one. It's like getting the vaccine, man. Come on.
Which I really wish we could implement your idea about the vaccine.
Oh,
can we just talk about this real quick?
Okay, so the vaccine. Okay, first of all, I don't know if we were doing the show at the time where we talked about this whole thing where the whole vaccine situation, the whole pandemic situation, when it gets over. To whatever degree it's over, then it's going to be time to look back on who fucked up, right?
Yes.
There's going to be a lot of people that you go back and go, oh, you know something? If you would have signed this one paper and not been a dick, we'd had like 70,000 more people alive.
You fucked up.
And it's numbers, but it's people's lives.
Yes.
So there's going to be a lot of, I'm hoping, there's going to be a lot of accountability,
I think a lot
right?
of people are hoping.
And the next level of accountability is going to come when we talk about vaccines because depending on what numbers, there's 4 million vaccines in California. How many have been implemented?
12.
2 million. Well, what's with the other 2 million? They're just sitting there because we can't figure out a way to do it. Right. But my idea.
Somebody has a smart
I have a solution
idea.
because the other night, on Friday night, the missus doesn't cook, so it's eat out night. That doesn't sound right. And so
No, it does not.
So I was dispatched to In-N-Out to get the nightly repast, and I was in the Lincoln In-N-Out.
Bread and wine and fish.
And, of course, it was like 5:30 or whatever on Friday. Well, of course, it's 3 o'clock on Friday because that's what time I eat. No, it's 5:30 or something, and I went earlier than
That's
I
still
would have.
early.
I went early because I knew what was going to happen,
Yeah.
which is there's going to be a line, right?
Oh, yeah.
So
In-N-Out, no doubt.
There was probably, I'm going to say 15 cars ahead of me when I got there, maybe more. I was so far out of the line, I was in front of a PetSmart, which is 120 yards down the road. I'm in front of PetSmart waiting to go get In-N-Out.
Did you take Lola to get groomed at the same time?
No, well, that's not a bad idea. But by 15 minutes later,
Yeah.
I'm on the road home. And I'm saying, why can't In-N-Out handle the vaccine?
Dude, there's no. First of all, they're set up perfectly for it.
Everybody in line, everybody that takes your order, everybody is so nice there.
Oh, God, yes.
And I'm not going to say they never, but as far as I know, they never. Like, I'm the 37th car in line, right? And I give the guy my order, and I'm like, how do I know that at the thing they're going to have this 37th car? How do they? They never fail.
They've never failed me.
They never fail.
They've never failed me.
Why can't we we didn't have to get the workers. Just get the head of In-N-Out.
Yes.
And put him in charge of the vaccine in California.
But it's important to use their buildings. Okay, I think the
then we'd have
streamlined
to
process. No, listen,
I
just hear
understand
me out.
you-
Just hear
okay.
me out because I think you're onto something.
I think so.
What we do is we just put like the lids over all the cooking equipment, right?
Okay.
Sterilize that all and set it up for shots, and everybody gets in the In-N-Out line, and we have the workers that normally work In-N-Out in there.
Oh, yeah.
First window, you pay for your shot. You go up to the second window, you get your shot. How long did it take you to get your food when you were in line with 900 cars in front
Probably
of you?
15 minutes.
That's exactly all it takes.
And that's like I said, I had to go from in front of PetSmart, move up 3 cars to get into the row, to cross that row, to get into the parking lot of the In-N-Out, in which I had to go around the central building and get in that line, and then finally get in the line where you usually are.
Yep.
I probably was 10 to 15 cars before I got to where I usually order, right, in In-N-Out.
And then you're 5, 6 cars
and then I'm 5
back.
or 6 cars back, and then I'm going through, and of course the guy's like, "Oh, you had this," and the way they do it is so fast. I didn't even know that's what I had. It's like they go, "You have 4 of these." Since I was buying for Zach, it's like 75 burgers,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
I go, "Yeah, that sounds." Fine.
Okay, sure.
So I go there, and she's nine. Do you need it bagged up? And she, hey, old man.
Hey, old man.
Just bagged up. You want to look at the receipt real close?
Can I get
And
you
she
a
got one of those
magnifying
megaphones.
glass?
Hey, old man.
Hey, dude.
Did you get animal fries? No, I didn't get animal fries. Anyway, so I really think that there are people, and I know that talk is always, well, we have to give these things to the private sector because they do them better. I don't know about that. But there are people, that's their job, is to be more economical. They make more money, but the more people they move through, right?
It's called efficiency.
Yeah, so why can't we employ that? Why is
100% can.
But when you see these reports on Channel 3 News, this is Stokes McCoy. 75,000 vials were found in a warehouse, and nobody knew they were here. And then I asked the foreman, and he said, "Oh, that just came in yesterday. I didn't know what it was, so I put it in the back." And why does this stuff happen?
Because we're not efficient. We don't have people like In-N-Out people running the show.
Americans are not good at their jobs.
Well, no. If they
and it's not even on the American worker. This one's on, I think this is middle management.
Well, it's
or
more
maybe
middle
higher
management.
than middle management.
Well, at least middle management. I'll go with that. I mean, you can't put this on the workers. The workers, once they have that vaccine in hand, they're shooting people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's not their...
I'm not advocating that, fast food workers be given the vaccine to give to people.
I don't give a shit, dude.
Care.
I honestly don't.
Well, I mean...
Except at the Burger King up here, I don't want them doing it at all because they'll fuck it up every time.
Well, I mean, and then you could go like...
I'll get gluten instead of the vaccine.
Or you could give it to the Chinese restaurant people, and
they could.
Everybody just mills around all the time waiting for Jim.
Your order is already ready.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I shouldn't have brought that up because then we have to do bad Chinese accents. Anyway,
we will not do
bottom
that.
line is In-N-Out, Lincoln. Well done. I would trust you if Governor Newsom is listening, which he should be. I would trust In-N-Out. The In-N-Out franchises to go ahead and dispense the vaccine.
I would second that, and I think we sign them up ASAP.
So the Hall of Fame, we finished the Hall of Fame now. I think I like what you're trying to do, trying to induct people based on what the PGA Tour used to do. The LPGA Tour used to do is like you had a point system, and when you got enough points, then you're in. And it's not like you could be. I think you had to be 25 or something, but you're 25 if you won 30 tournaments, you're in.
You're in.
And now it's a little more subjective.
I just think because we're getting to a point, and we're getting to the same point in every sport, is there's a lot of people that have come through these sports, and they're now up on these debates. And if you have just automatics, okay, and you can set a benchmark. Setting a benchmark is an easy thing to do, and you could do it in most all sports. Yeah, and then you just honor that benchmark. Yeah. Well, you honor that benchmark.
Tell me about the sport that you love above all others. Then why can't they don't have a bunch of people to put in their Hall of Fame? They don't have anybody.
Well, they have a whole totally different system, and I don't like their system.
No, but I mean, even if you put in the steroid people off this last ballot, Barry and Roger Clemens and whoever else you wanted to put in, you still wouldn't have had a very good class this year.
No, you wouldn't have had a very good class. Again, I won't understand how the baseball writers do Hall of Fame voting. I will never understand that. And it's something that needs a complete and utter overhaul.
But don't they need better players too? But where are the players?
Well, the players are there. I think that the players are there. I just think that there's been so much more focus on stats and statistics over the last decade or so that you can now start breaking these people down. The eye test for baseball was one of the biggest factors of getting into the Hall of Fame. And the eye test is now becoming not even a secondary tool when used, talking in specifics about baseball and what you think a Hall of Fame should look like.
Well, tell me... let's talk a little bit baseball. I hope Max is listening. He can text in too. Tell me who's playing.
He is.
Tell me. It just seems like this year on the Hall of Fame ballot, if you take away the guys that we're not going to discuss because it doesn't serve the purpose, there weren't Hall of Famers. I mean, to me, Scott Rowland isn't a Hall of Famer. I'm sorry. I really like him.
Yeah.
So tell me what guys are playing now. Well, tell me this first of all before we even get there. Is Tim Lincecum a Hall of Famer?
I think Tim Lincecum is a Hall of Famer. I think the World Series wins. I think his strikeout total, season totals, and again, you have to take into consideration shortened careers. So in the time span in which he spent,
you do. You do, but that doesn't mean you have to give him. No.
I'm not saying it elevates. I'm not saying it elevates him or brings him back down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I do think that metric has to be put in there. Again, it's one of the things that I'm talking about with as far as metrics and stuff are concerned. There's so many out there.
You're right. And then I saw this thing on Twitter. It was like it gave you 4 pitchers. It was Justin Verlander, Max Scherzer, somebody else, and Madison Bumgarner. I can't remember the third. I can't remember the other one. But it said
Bauer.
No, it wasn't Bauer. We'll talk about that in a minute. Okay. It was like, out of these 4 guys, who would you give the ball to in a Game 7? And, of course, this is California, so everybody said Madison Bumgarner. Yeah. But I was looking at it, and I said, I probably would too, but the other 3 guys are going to the Hall of Fame, and I don't think he is.
See, his career, when it's all said and done, I think will be Hall of Fame worthy. And, again, it has to do with having rings,
That one year he was
That's
as
huge.
good as it gets, absolutely. But he only has 120 wins.
But he has multiple rings. He doesn't just have one ring.
Oh, I know.
You know what I mean? So
3, right? Yeah.
Yes. So you have that as part of your bio, right?
Yeah.
And again, I don't think his career. I think he's got at least another 7 years. In the big.
I don't think he does. I will give you. You were right about Grayson Allen, and I owed you that time. Yeah. But I will bet you about. I don't think Madison Bumgarner pitches. I'll say 4.
I think he's one of those guys that's going to pitch as long as he possibly can pitch.
I agree with that.
And I think that that will at least get him another 5 years and probably another contract after that, because that's what he's dealing with right now in Arizona. And so I could see him going for another 7 years. I can see that.
If he does that, I mean, sure, then he's.
If he does that, a 25-year-old, you know what I mean?
He's got to be older than that.
No, dude, he was 21. He was 20 the year they won the first.
That's crazy. Look at that. If you can, look that up, because honestly.
Yeah, he was 20 the year that they won their first.
He does
World
look
Series.
33 even when he was 20.
Yeah.
So I think that does weird it out for me, because I thought he was kind of like at the end, because he's 120 and 96.
Yeah, he looks.
And that's a lot of decisions for guys these days.
No, absolutely. It really is. Let's see here. Madison Bumgarner.
So
I don't know why you can't just pull up the stats right
I don't know why. Usually
You
you
know
just
what I mean?
Wikipedia and see how old the guy is.
That's what I did, and then it pulls it up and goes to a different one. There we go.
That's usually my excuse.
Born in 1989.
Wow, so that's 11 plus 20. So he's 32.
31.
He'll be 32.
32.
So he's not
Yeah.
25.
Okay.
So I don't think he's going to pitch 4 more. That's why I say 4 more years.
5 more years.
Okay, even if he
5 more years.
I just don't know how effective he'll be. But let's put that to the side. Who playing right now is a sure Hall of Famer in your mind?
Who playing right now is a sure Hall of Famer in my mind. There's a lot of guys out there. I like Mike Trout. Mike Trout's an automatic Hall of Famer.
I would totally give you that one.
Mike Trout's going to be an automatic Hall of Famer for this current class.
Mike Trout's going to be like a Peyton Manning. He's not going to have to be in the queue, but in this case, there won't be a queue because he'll just be. You can vote for 10, so obviously he'll be in.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Giancarlo Stanton's going to make it without question.
If he stopped playing today, would he make it?
I think if he stopped playing today, he'd still make it.
I'd have to look at the numbers. I don't think so.
I do. I think he's been one of the more consistent home run power hitters in the bigs for the last decade.
Okay.
And I think that alone probably will get him in.
Okay. What about Bryce Harper?
Bryce Harper is a fringe Hall of Famer still.
Right now, yeah.
He's a tremendous talent. And he's got the all-star appearances to back him up as far as, selections, right?
Yeah.
And
some of that is fan voting, though. So
exactly, and that's why I don't think it holds as much weight.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But, Bryce is a fringe player.
Well, Scherzer, I think, to me, Scherzer's a Hall of Famer.
See, and
because he's got like 3 Cy Youngs, I think.
There's more pitchers that are auto Hall of Famers.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Than there are offensive players.
And those pitchers don't have numbers that would, you were talking about.
They wouldn't rival what they used to.
Yeah, because you're talking about setting a standard like 10 times All-Pro and all
Correct,
that, and there's numbers you set.
Mm-hmm.
Baseball had numbers.
And those numbers have changed.
They changed because, first of all, steroids has changed those numbers a little bit. And secondly, the way that people play now.
Yep.
You get 5 pitchers instead of 4. You have that, 20% less starts or whatever it happens to be. Yeah. And so you have less wins.
200 innings for a pitcher is crazy. You know what I mean?
And 20 wins. Come on, forget about it.
What is a win? What does it matter?
If you get 20 wins, nobody cares what you did.
Exactly.
Like, I was 20-6. So? How was your whip?
How was your whip?
Okay. So I think Scherzer's in there, Verlander's in there.
Yeah, I think those guys, I mean, like I said, I think pitchers are going to have – pitchers always, in my opinion, have a much easier time. Starting pitchers.
Yeah, because
relief pitchers, totally different story.
They can always point to Cy Youngs and stuff because those things carry a lot of weight. MVPs are kind of harder to get. But Cy Youngs carry a lot of weight.
They really do. I mean –
but see, that's not a lot of players, and I know Max could come up with another
Hall of Fame.
dozen.
Yeah, but Hall of Fame players, it's hard. It's baseball. Again, baseball is harder because of the pool of people.
Right. I mean, you have 25 teams with 25 players, or 25 teams, 30, however many teams. So you have like 750, 800 guys playing at any one time, right?
Yeah.
In football, you have 50 players a team with 30, so you have twice as many. But still, football always has a bunch of guys. Let's talk about football players.
It's because of the offense and defensive lines that that's a category. All right, offensive line, it's a category, and then football player is the general category.
No, I understand.
In baseball, there is no, it's not pitcher, it's not catcher, it's just Hall of Famer. You know what I mean? It's set up differently.
I see what you're saying, but
an offensive lineman benefits his game benefits also off of the guy playing to his left and the guy playing to his right.
Right, but I know baseball is the ultimate individual team game. I understand that.
You see what I'm getting at.
But I mean, but talk about football. I mean, I'm sure we can name 3 times as many football players who are sure Hall of Famers than we did baseball players.
Well, yeah, because you talk about them all the time. I mean, just go on the defensive end. You've got Aaron Donald and Khalil Mack. That just jump off the page, right?
Yeah, that jumps off, and probably Jalen Ramsey.
And I mean,
there's all kinds of guys. Yeah, there are.
Go down the list,
and offense too. And there's more players, but there also just seems to be more jump out guys.
Yeah,
baseball's maybe that's because of the way it's more regionalized or something. You don't get
it's
jump
the way
out
it's
guys.
marketed too. I mean, let's be honest. Absolutely. Baseball is still trying to get back into the national spotlight, like football. It's not that it fell out of the national spotlight. It's just football has overtaken it.
Well, it's
in the national spotlight.
It's because, as I've told you, and I think we've talked about many times, football is a TV show. It's not a sport.
Correct.
It's a television show.
It's a reality
and that's
show.
the way it's treated on. That's the way they slot it and everything. It's a television show, and it's a fantastic television show. You know, I know, anybody who has gone to baseball games since you were a kid, baseball, you got to be there.
Yep.
That's what you do. A baseball game, you go to it, man.
You really do.
That's the best part about baseball.
It's the way to appreciate it.
And if as a television show, it's compared. Football is a 3-hour movie, right?
Yeah.
And baseball's a miniseries, and you don't always have time for a 10-part Netflix miniseries.
Sometimes you got to walk away from it.
You got to go. Look, I'll leave it at episode 6. I got to get out of here. So I just think.
No, I can agree with that. I can agree with that. What I would say though, in regards to baseball, is baseball's not doing itself currently any favors. Okay,
they have some great young guys in
baseball. They have great young guys, but they're not doing themselves some favors. One thing that just came out that I was reading today about is MLB in 2021 is going to deaden the baseball a little bit in order to bring the home run totals down.
Why?
And that's my point. That exactly goes against what you need to do if you're a smart marketing man, okay? One of the big things that you can market is the home run. You don't want to do things to take it away, especially if it's already been established. The baseball has already been established. We know that several years ago there was a change to the baseball, which we saw an increase of home runs.
Right.
Don't go backwards. You're trying to build a base, not take away from that base. And I think by doing this, baseball is doing what they've always done. They're trying to be, look, I don't care what you say, we're doing it our way.
Do you think?
And that's unfortunate.
It might be because they're hearing the people criticize the home run or bust philosophy of baseball.
You know,
they go like, if you can't hit a home run, you're going to have to learn to hit the ball in the gap and stuff all the time. I think that might be misjudging your market right there. I really do.
I'm going to say that you might be right on that. That I think that there is something to have to do with that. The issue that I see really being the problem is if you're taking excitement. Baseball's tried to bring excitement to the game.
Right.
It's been marketing for the last several years about bringing excitement to the game.
Right.
All of its commercials and marketing, it's all geared towards that. And yet now they're talking about doing something to cut down on one of the most excitable marketing pieces of baseball that the game still has, and that's the home run.
Yeah.
And I just think that this is baseball doing what they've always done, and they're putting their foot down. They're stomping their foot and saying, we'll do what we want.
I do think it's still...
and they're missing the boat on this.
It's a reaction. I think it's somewhat a reaction to people complaining that the ball isn't in play enough.
Well, I mean...
And they're going to try to make it so the ball is in play more. And I think... I understand the flaw. I think it's misguided.
Yeah.
I understand that. And that leads me to another thing I wanted to talk about since you brought that up. They're talking about doing the same thing in golf.
Yeah.
And here's the only thing about golf. First of all, if you want to do something about golf, the distance in golf, don't do it to the pros. That's fine. Don't do it to us.
No. I worked really hard.
I don't want my – if I bomb one and it goes 210, I can't really – yeah!
I worked really hard.
I still got a 5-wood to the green. It's a par 4. Come on.
Thank you. I'm so with you on that one. If they do – these are changes I don't like. Part of me says it's strategical. They think it's going to bring more action into the games, golf and baseball, because of in play, like you had mentioned, and things of that nature. And then bringing everybody to a similar level. Right. So I get those ideas. I hate it with a passion. Okay. We live in a world of technology and advancements. Okay.
Right.
We need to embrace what we have as opposed to roll it back. Okay. So in a game like golf, the advancements in golf with clubs and balls and training technology has taken a bunch of us scrubs and made us feel like we could go out to the golf course and have some fun. Okay?
No, absolutely.
You start doing that and you start making these kind of dead ball changes to the pros, okay? All of a sudden, you're making me feel like I could go out and compete with those guys.
Yeah.
And that's not the case. And you and I both know that'll never be the case.
The problem is, I think, they are afraid that this latest core of golfers, led by Bryson DeChambeau, or he's the harbinger of what may be to come.
Well, they're too big.
They can hit it too far, and that you can't change the golf courses that much that are already made, right? So they're afraid that they'll overpower golf courses, okay?
Yeah.
And that's their fear, I think, is why they're doing this.
Until they win every tournament.
Well, see, that's the thing.
They're not.
You don't want to be too proactive.
Yeah.
Bryson DeChambeau didn't win the Masters, I don't think.
No.
So, I mean, they were worried about him knocking the ball over the trees on
And-
a couple of those par fives, which is cool.
Yeah.
Right.
But he also hit it out into the parking lot a couple of times.
There's a lot more to golf than just hitting it far.
Yeah.
They talked about this when Tiger was in his heyday. They said, we're going to Tiger-proof all these courses. Well, if you make courses, they're going to make the courses longer. If you make courses longer, he benefits more.
Yeah.
Because he has less clubs to hit into the green than you do.
And it's
it
the same in
benefits him
baseball.
more.
And
Make them shorter. That's what you do. You make them shorter.
Yep, it's the same in baseball. It's the same theory in baseball. I don't want to see those things happen, those changes happen.
Right.
For the fundamental reasons of what the sports have been developed to.
Right. And are the pitchers going to suddenly throw slower now?
Well, exactly. I mean,
I don't think so.
Is the ball?
I may be wrong.
If we're talking about deadening a ball, so is that going to change the way it rolls on a ground on a hotline drive?
That's a great question.
All of a sudden, all the infielders who've been fielding a ball for the last 5 years, are the hops going to be different? Are the, you know what I mean?
Man, you're really depressing me with this baseball talk. Golf, we can legislate that. We can figure that out. Baseball's different. When you're talking about the fabric of the game,
yes,
you're going to change the ball.
You can't change the ball. I don't like the idea of rolling something back. All right, you know what I mean?
See that.
I really just don't like the idea.
What do you think about teams moving their fences in and out?
I have no problems with that. Stadiums were designed, okay, to be built bigger because all stadiums have been built with the idea of expansion.
Right.
Okay. So, I mean, if that's the case, make the field bigger. It still makes it so important. If you can't hit home runs, to be able to hit gap to gap,
right,
to be able to hit the ball between the 5-5 hole, okay, to hit one down the line. I think there's too much focus on the home run and it being either an issue one way or another. I think they're overreacting to something that's happening.
I think in baseball, if I'm running baseball, I'm more concerned with the fact that in about 10 years, there's only going to be four teams that have players.
Yeah.
They're going to buy them all. The Dodgers, the Red Sox, the Mets, and the Yankees will own all the players.
Yes.
Now, I think that you got to go.
They'll farm them out.
That's exactly what Zach and I were talking about. It's going to be like the English Premier League.
Yep.
Like, for instance,
I heard you guys talking about
this.
So
Bauer gets signed by the Dodgers. That means that the Dodgers' seventh pitcher is not going to get much time.
Yep.
Loan him to the A's.
Oh, absolutely.
Let him go play for the A's.
Uh-huh.
And then the only thing you say, well, okay, if the Dodgers play the A's, he can't pitch.
Yep.
Understood.
Yeah, sure.
But the seventh pitcher you got is way better than anybody we have. Okay, he would be our number 2 starter. Okay, so. And he doesn't doing anything with you, so give him to us.
It's the way baseball is allowing it to go right now. You know,
Trevor Bauer, for whatever reason, and I'm sure guys like Max saw this coming, but I don't pay that much attention. For whatever reason, when I saw Trevor Bauer was going to the Dodgers, and I know he went to UCLA, but still, he's going to the Dodgers. I just went, oh, forget it. There's no restrictions on what you can pay people.
No.
All the people are going to go to the teams with all the most money.
And the money for the first of all, it's only a 3-year deal, and the money in the first 2 years, there's not another team that could afford.
There you go.
To give him that money. I mean, DeToy had brought it up to me. He goes, "Why didn't the Giants make a run at Bauer?" And I said, "I guarantee you, Zaid, you looked at it and went."
The Giants got some money though, don't they?
Yeah, but they don't have the money to give somebody.
They don't have Bauer money,
even 1 year at that rate.
Yeah, and that really, I mean, we know not every team in sports is going to be the same. We know that.
Yeah.
There's going to be Jacksonville, and there's going to be Kansas City, whatever. We know that. But
happens.
Still, there's a chance for guys every once in a while to kind of turn the tables. But when you've got a situation where you're throwing out the arms that the Dodgers, some kind of the Padres,
I was just
going to
say, do not forget about the Padres.
When you're throwing those kind of arms out, you got guys up there. Well, if we score 3 runs, it's going to be like we're going to have a rally party. I just really think that the way that it's structured, I mean, it wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't make sense not to.
Yeah.
If somebody can give you the most money, then you're going to go there.
Well, And I guarantee you somewhere in baseball rules are that exact same thing. Is there's not we can't do that. He's under our contract, so we can't loan him out to you. We can't rent him out to you.
Like you said, we can change that. We can modify that.
That's the thing. Is
makes it a better game.
If you were going to go as far as to modifying the fabric of the game, which is the ball that's used to play it,
yeah,
you can go in and make managerial changes to say, look, all right, the right is given to the first, X amount of teams at this particular player on this particular team because you guys spent $500 billion and nobody else has it.
Yeah, let's look at the Potters. How many times there are a couple of teams that play against the Potters every year that don't have a lot of players.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just they don't have a lot of players, and nobody wants to be loaned from one team to another. But if you were talking about a real schedule with equity concerns, that team would have to be buttressed up because it couldn't. I mean,
couldn't survive otherwise.
We've literally seen teams come to town with 2 pitchers.
Yes,
for a 9-inning game.
Yes.
And I know if you watch pros, you go, well, they can do that. In summer league, you can't.
No.
Okay, and the first guy stays out there and takes an incredible ERA beating. He's given up like 11 runs.
If I remember correctly, we had a couple of teams that had 13 and 14 guys.
Yeah,
total
exactly.
roster.
And I understand that. And they went out there and played their hearts out.
They
and everything.
really did.
But the problem is the pitchers couldn't do that.
Yeah,
because you can't change anything about pitchers. So if you need pitchers, go ahead and borrow one. I mean, why not?
I offered up my services.
You let me use your weed eater, and I think that's the same basic principle.
There you go.
I don't know if I returned your picture to you.
Did you?
But there you go. All right, so that sounds like a pretty good show to me.
I like the show, dude. I'm happy to have you back over here, buddy.
This is really a good room.
I'm glad you like it.
It sounds great. It looks good. You've got lots of things up on your screen, and I know you love that.
Oh, yeah. Well, we got like a little tip jar on the live feed now. We're feeding out to YouTube as well as Facebook Live as well as Twitch.
What is that? Okay, I saw you mention that. That scared me.
Well, Twitch is something that I was going to create an account, but Miles Coffee Boom!
Miles is getting a lot of run on this show today.
He had already created an account, correct?
Okay, and they do the unscripted on?
And he logged it onto my Facebook account, so I said I'm going to steal it, and we're using his as well. So rock on.
Fantastic.
It goes out to a whole bunch of people. And then also, don't forget, if you missed the show, you want to download it, iTunes is where you're going to go, or any of your podcast apps where you can download podcasts.
Awesome.
Search for Stones Radio Network.
Fantastic. So what we've discussed today is my tough life.
Yep.
Also, we've discussed Toy and our possible show about him getting on the couch and me getting my doctorate in psychology by counseling him. A bunch of other stuff about baseball and football and Potters. Remember, stonesradio@yahoo.com. If you know somebody or a team that wants to have us come and broadcast their games, get in touch with Stones, and we'll see about working out the details because we really like to do that once things get going. We're back next Monday. I think unscripted on Wednesday. The Generation Gap comes up on Thursday, and then the Stones and Toy Show on Sunday again.
Sunday at 6.
Fantastic.
Followed by the unscripted at 9 p.m.
What a double play. Thanks for checking us out. We'll talk to you again next Monday. Good night, everybody.